That could be replaced by a robot at this point.
It's Song Talk Radio.
Welcome to Song Talk Radio, the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and together we all become better at writing songs. I'm your host, Neil Modi, and with me, my co-host, Phil Emery. Welcome back, Phil. How you doing?
I am doing very well. I just flew in from Ottawa, and boy, are my arms tired.
Oh, goodness. That's a lot of flapping.
It is, yes.
Going against the current. Sure. Alrighty. So, for everyone else, please send your comments and questions to @songtalkradio on Facebook or Instagram, or feedback@songtalk.ca for the email, and we'll share your thoughts on the show. And please visit songtalk.ca to see the show post for this episode, to find links to resources we mention, and to download lyric and chord sheets to follow along with the songs that we feature. And tonight, we're very happy to welcome Canadian indie artist based out of Toronto, Canada, Maddy Little. How you doing, Maddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, and thanks for coming on the show with us tonight. And Maddy Little is a Canadian indie artist based out of Toronto, Canada. Maddy has spent her formative years immersed in indie folk band We Wander. Maddy has been deeply influenced in her songwriting by artists like City and Colour, Dizzy, Phoebe Bridgers, and who have inspired her to turn to storytelling through music. Currently working on her first EP as a solo artist, Maddy's second single, Attention, explores her vulnerability and emotion as a songwriter. Welcome to Song Talk Radio, Maddy.
Hello. Yes, thank you for having me.
Great to have you on the show. And we're going to get started by listening to Maddy's new song, Attention. And please remember, everyone, the lyric sheet will be on the website, songtalk.ca, the show post for this episode. So feel free to visit us there, download the lyric sheet so you can follow along in the song and in the discussion. Let's hit it, Phil.
I'm running towards a light that I can't follow, with all these shadows staring back at me. My biggest fear in life is that I'll never find that missing piece. I'm holding on to hope that one day you might catch me when I'm falling. I know I'm coming off a dreamer, but I hope one day it happens. I'm waiting on a love I know won't happen. I'm all in. You're not even looking in the same direction. How do I get your attention? How do I get your attention? I'm trying. I see the way that you were looking at me, what made you scared to let me in? I know there's something needing no way at you getting underneath your skin. But the more that I push and the more that you pull, the rope's getting tighter around my throat. I'm trying not to let it slip now, but it's slipping and I can't get out. I'm waiting on a love I know won't happen. I'm all in. You're not even looking in the same direction. How do I get your attention? I'm waiting on a love I know won't happen. I'm all in. You're not even looking in the same direction. How do I get your attention? I'm waiting on a love, looking in the same direction. How do I get your attention? I'm trying.
Great.
Wow, very cool.
So,
Song sucks. Scrap it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
there's no intro. It's like right into it.
Yeah, right into it.
Was that a conscious? What was the decision? Thought process behind that?
Honestly, I think that's like one of the first songs I've kind of written on piano. Like, I'm not much of a piano player. I can understand what I'm doing, but like, I'm more so when I write, I play on guitar and like, I don't know, I just like played the first chord and I was like, and I just started singing. And then when I took it to like my friends that helped me with the song, like they had no like worries of an intro and we just ran with it. So that's kind of how it went. And yeah.
Which works well, I think, now for streaming, where people will just listen before the first bit. I mean, it's the old intros were much for radio when they had the DJ talking over the front.
Mm-hmm. I remember like, oh, sorry, yes, continue.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the old, yeah, they took it. I think DJs took advantage of that to introduce the song or whatever. But I think from a songwriting point of view, they also wanted just to establish the mood, get you sort of feeling into the song, sort of thing. But again, it depends how. I think it depends how complex your idea is right off the bat, right? If you've got some, if you're playing with time signatures, if you're doing some really wacky chord progression or something, you want to get the listener's ear attuned to that maybe before you start introducing more complexity, like a vocal melody.
Yeah.
Right. So that sort of thing. But I think in this context, it works perfectly well. It gets right into the story of it.
Yeah, I think like, well, a lot of the thing too is like with We Wander, like We Wander was the first experience that I had going into like a studio and like working with other people and like different musicians. And I always remember like my one friend being like the one that helped us produce like all of our stuff really, Matthew Fuentes, like he was always like, your intros are too long. And I remember for this song, I was like, okay, I'm going to stick it to him. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just kidding. But he's actually also the one who helped me produce this song. So I bet he was happy that I had no intro as well.
Yeah, I think it's, and again, it depends. But if you're strumming three chords over and over again for 16 bars before you start singing, then it gets a little, yes. You could say your intro's too long, but it really depends.
Yes.
I really like the indie feeling of this. The whole thing just has a vibe that says, indie music, because it's kind of catchy, it's kind of poppy, but there's also a strong storytelling element. I think the thing I like most about this song is your chorus and the way that the musical melodies and the lyrics don't quite line up. Right? Like, I'm all in, even if you're not looking in the same direction. To read it on the lyric sheet is, I'm all in, you're not even looking in the same direction. But you break it up, I'm all in, you're not even looking in the same direction. Like, I think
it's important
and everything. Yeah.
I think it's important to have space, like when you're writing music, because then it like gives you, like, literally it gives you time to breathe. So if you're playing live, it's like, okay, I have a second, or like, but also just like it gives like a second to like hear what's going on instrumentally as well. So
But so something like that, like when you wrote this chorus, was that lyric first, melody first? How did it come together in that?
Honestly, I'm kind of the same when I write any song, where like I'll usually pick up an instrument and I find a chord progression I like, and then I usually have one word that runs in my head, and then I kind of just like think about that word, and then I don't know what happens. I just kind of like disassociate, and then I've written this whole song, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I'll look back at the lyrics, and I'm like, oh, look at you were being smart, eh? Like, then I didn't even know. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think I like to like think about structure when I'm writing as well. Like, I like to look at it visually. So when I write, I usually write on a computer, and I'll write, and I don't know, like, I mean, one could argue, and like I've had like songwriting teachers like tell me too, that like it could kind of box you in, but I try not to let it box me in. But I like to look at it like, okay, this is going to be my verse. It's going to be this many like paragraphs. This is going to be my chorus. And for me, it just like helps me stay organized as well in terms of what I'm thinking and also like how I'm writing. So yeah.
What was the word that triggered this song?
Honestly, it was attention. I was like, I just like, I think like it came from like I was in uh like a relationship where I was like, I felt like I wasn't seen. It wasn't even a relationship. It was just like someone that I really liked, and I was like, I just really want your attention. Like I want you to focus in on me, and I feel like you're like so far away from me, and I just want you to be like, oh, there's Maddy, you know. And I just really wanted this person's attention, and they could just see like that I'm not that bad, you know. And then that's how I kind of started writing it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then when you got to writing the lyrics, it was, I mean, you're not name dropping the person.
No.
You're writing them in such a way, I don't know if this is intentional or not, that it's kind of a little more open to anybody's experience that's gone through something like this, which of course we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yes. I mean like yeah, and I honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like when I write, I usually just write for myself, and I'm not thinking in the moment of like, how is this gonna relate to other people? I kind of just like, for me, it's more of like a therapeutic thing, and it's for me just to be like, this is what I feel right now, um, and but it usually turns out where it's like, oh, I feel the same way, and it's like certain people like, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like,
it does, but then I mean, this is not a diary entry, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
The more you push, the more you pull on the ropes getting tighter around my throat. Like that's intensely visual, and compelling, and all that sort of stuff. And it is open to all sorts of experiences if you treat that as a metaphor and all that sort of thing. So it's not it's not. I'm not reading it strictly as autobiographical.
Yeah. No. I know, and I think like that lyric actually like when I wrote my song, like I'm very much like this, where I'll write a verse and a chorus, and then I hold on to it for a while, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I actually like this one. Let me finish it. So that second verse is like not even about the same person I wrote about the first verse. It's like I had like a friend that like I just like could tell was like really trying to be my friend, and I was like, I don't know, like I'm really like, it was just too much in a way almost, and I was like, okay, like I feel like you're like pushing to me, and I need to pull away from you because like I can't do this right now. And I think that's kind of where that lyric came from, where I was like, okay, like I feel like the more like people push towards me, the more I tend to pull away from them. But in the song, it almost seems like it's the other way, where it's like, okay, like that's me pushing towards you and you're pulling away from me. But it was actually the other way around, which was interesting. So,
do you do a lot of editing with your songs?
Yeah. Okay, so this is the first time that I've actually ever got to like play most of the instruments, and so I went in and I recorded this at my friend Mike Giroffi's studio in Toronto, and it's called Good People Studio. And so it was just me and him a lot of the time, and I'm used to like other people being with me, and used to having like I don't know, like just like other instrumentalists, and so I like could do the things I want to do, but I was like, oh, I have to actually like play all these instruments now. And like, I remember there was like this guitar part in that song, and the way that it's phrased, it almost feels like it's like 5/4. And I remember because it was like da 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 da, and I had to do it like 8 times, and I could tell like we spent a whole day just on like electric guitar, because like that was my first time ever playing like lead in a song, and at the time I was like not fully understanding like even just like how the fretboard worked, and like just like I don't know, like little things. Now that I'm like, the more I've like explored like I know that's not much of a difference, but the more that I've explored like electric guitar, the more I've really gotten to learn my fretboard. So I look back at it now and I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. And I wish I had known that when I recorded the song. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always a learning experience, isn't it? No matter what.
Yes.
even no matter how good you get.
But when you're actually doing the writing, do you go through and tweak phrases, or is it sort of once down, that's it?
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I don't really try to mess with whatever my first thought was. I really have like a gut feeling that like the first thing that I said is exactly what I meant, and like I want to try and stay true to like that. So even if so sometimes like I usually just record on my phone, and then it'll sound a little messy like in terms of the phrasing, and then I'll go back and I'll be like, oh, okay, let me just phrase this differently, but I'll say the exact same thing, or I'll just change like, I don't know, like you to it or something, like little things, but never like the thing that I was actually speaking about in the beginning.
Yeah, it's always a difference between the what and the how,
Yeah.
right? Like you want to keep the what the same as it was, but how you say something may
Yeah.
may change or differ. Sometimes I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes if I'm writing something, I'll put something down that I know maybe isn't the perfect way to say it, but I will revisit it later, and then it takes a while, and then finally you find the right set of words, or sometimes the right word.
Yeah.
For to get back to the what, right? To get back to the original idea that you had.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing you're trying to focus on. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm wondering about your bridge.
Oh yeah. Honestly, like my bridge was just kind of like I think like being critical. I think it's like a little just like I wasn't thinking about writing a bridge. I'm pretty bad with bridges. Like honestly, like when I write songs, I write two verses and a chorus, and I always find that like the second verse is like harder than the first verse.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I don't even want to try to write a bridge right now. Like I just want to finish.
Yeah.
But like there's some songs where I'm like, okay, this calls for a bridge. Where this one I kind of wanted to keep it like short and sweet, and like I was like with a bridge, I was like, I'm just gonna like sing a bunch of really long notes. Yeah, but I had no thought in a bridge at the time. I just like kind of wrote the two verses, and then I was like, I don't really like want to think about writing a bridge. And yeah, I don't know at the time. That's like just how I felt.
Yeah, I heard your bridge, and I'm like, I probably would have done a different lyric there.
Yeah.
The long notes are cool, but
Yeah.
it could have been something else. I don't know what.
I know. I've thought about that too. I know you're not wrong.
It's interesting. We all have different things, like bits of songs that we like to do. You know, like some people love to do verses, some people love to do choruses. I love doing bridges.
Really?
Bridges are always fun because I don't know. I just think you can do so many cool things, and it's always one of my favorite parts.
It is a completely different part, like for sure. You know.
Yeah.
The more so, I'm actually a music teacher, and the more that I'm like just like teaching and stuff, the more I feel like I'm learning. So the more I feel like I'm learning about like different like things music theory wise, and I'm like, oh, like I could really do something different in this bridge. And like I've actually been for the past a couple months I've been writing with these three like wonderful musicians, and we've come up with like these like wonderful songs, and I'm like really excited about like releasing them. And it's completely different, and like just like I've thought about them more music theory wise, where I mean, in a way, like I try not to think about it in the moment when I'm writing a song, but like sometimes I'll go back now and I'll be like, oh, maybe I could try like the minor instead of like this major chord that I'm playing. I could just try the relative minor, or I could do, I don't know, a parallel minor here, you know? So just like things like that. And
yeah. And that's the thing. Sometimes people get afraid of theory, that it's gonna cripple the vibe. It's gonna cripple my creativity, right? But like you say, if it's a tool you reach for every once in a while, like you got the general kind of feeling of a song, it's like you just want to try a little something different.
Yes,
like a chord substitution or something. It's kind of a neat bag of tricks to reach into.
Just gives you more options, really.
Yeah.
To explore things, you know.
Yeah, it just opens you up to more possibilities of how this thing could go. And if you don't like it, you just switch it back. It's not like it's written in stone.
Yes.
Do that chord substitution.
Do you find you have to move the songs like up or down in terms of keys, or do you? No,
when I write a song, I write in the right key for me. Like usually, I don't know. I just like I kind of know where I want to start. Like I start the same always. I start, okay, well, like for the most part, actually, like I start where I'm like, okay, I like this key. I usually am like stuck. Lately, I've been thinking about this where I'm like kind of stuck in the key of E or A. Those are like my two keys where I'm like, I really like these ones and I'm going to stay in it. And lately I've been writing all these songs and I'm like, oh no, they're going to like sound the same in a minute because I'm using all the same tricks for every song. Like I gotta like, do something else now. So
that's always an interesting question about how similar you want to be or how different you want to be. Because if you're all over the map, some people will say, oh, we can't market you. We don't know what kind of an artist you are. But then you don't want to be doing the same thing. And then there's some bands who, I swear, just play one song over and over again. So it's
yeah, exactly.
hard
And
to decide.
I think like someone once said this to me too, where it's like, it's okay to recycle parts. So even if I have like the stuff that I'm writing now where I'm like, no, that sounds too much like something I'm already writing, which I try really hard not to think about anyways, but I just like, I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll leave this for another day. And I have a whole, like, I don't know, if you look at my videos on my phone, I have like thousands of videos and I just like go through eventually and I like the ones and I go back to it and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I like this one. Let me like work on it.
Yeah, but I mean, we actually have a resource on our website. I wrote a blog piece quite a number of years ago now. It was 7 ways to change up your songwriting. Right, and they were this again. It's just a bag of tricks you can reach into, like treat your title a little bit differently. Like, is it the main hook of your chorus? Is it the end of your verse? Is it whatever? Just all these things that don't really they don't change the entire vibe or style genre that you're writing in, but it's just a different way to approach things. Put the chorus off the top of the song instead of make the chorus the first thing. The Beatles got away with it with like every single song.
Yes.
That's good for them.
Yeah.
There's no rule that says you have to start with a verse. Start with and maybe it's appropriate for the narrative. That's the most important thing. Is does it make sense for the song to give away your chorus? If your chorus is kind of a secret until after you finish your verse, then sure, you want to put it after. But sometimes there may be a reason, and you were talking about that at the beginning, Maddy, about structure, like how you think about structure, but can you think about it in terms of how does it support the song and how does it serve the song? Like, is the bridge needed? Where does the bridge to? The bridge takes you from some place to the other place. What's the destination on the other side of the bridge? Is it different than what was before, or is it the same thing?
Yeah.
All those sorts of things, and how does that reflect the song, and how does it reflect the story, and all those sorts of big questions.
So what is your plan with this song? Are you will it be released as a single or has it been released?
I've already released it. It's like it's out in the world now. It's doing all right, like as much as it can as a small artist. But like I mean, yeah, like I've been since like last April, I've been working with these 3 like really wonderful people. Matt Snell, Christian Turner, and Conrad Camisio. I think that's how you say his last name. And like I've been writing like these really wonderful songs, and I plan on releasing my first one out of those. Like I've recorded 3 of them, almost 4. I'm going in like in the next like couple weeks to record the next one.
Is that like a production relationship, or is it a co-songwriting relationship with these guys?
I mean, it's kind of co-production mostly, yeah.
It sounds like you're still writing songs by your lonesome. You haven't collaborated much with anyone else on the actual songwriting?
No, I mean, I guess yes. I kind of have like my friend Christian Turner that helps produce my music. We like sit down and like we go through my songs and we're like, oh, like why don't we change this or like this lyric or try this lyric and like things like that. And the one thing is that I'm always like trying to be very open to any ideas that they have because I respect them so much and I like know that whatever is best for the song is best for the song, and I am very much like for that. So like even like the first time I went in, I had a demo for this song that I'm going to release actually, like, I think in the end of June, called Impulse. And I wanted it to sound just even like drum wise. I was like, okay, I really love the toms. I really want them to stay tom heavy. And they took it and like changed it completely, like the whole beat. And I remember I was like, in my head, I was like, oh no, is this good? Like, and then like halfway through the day, I was like, oh my God, this is like way better. Like, I love this. And I've like since then learned to really just like trust their judgment and like just like work with them all together as a team. And yeah, no, it's been really great. And I love the stuff that I'm making right now. And I really believe in it. So
Great stuff.
yeah, I'm also gonna play a show July 5th at the Baby G. So that'll be there.
So where's that show going to be?
The Baby G in Toronto.
Gee, where's that?
It's in Toronto. I think it's in the West End
Really? Okay.
of Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I think I'm hearing the band, and that is all the time we have on Song Talk Radio. Special thanks to Maddy Little. Great to have you on the show. And where can our listeners find more about you?
If you just type in Maddy Little Music, really anywhere, that'll be good. Maddy with a Y, not naive. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And we want to hear from you, so please send your comments on Facebook or Instagram to @SongTalkRadio, or send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel for live performance videos and full episodes, and subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. You can find links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned on Song Talk Radio on the resources page on the website. And please join us at our next monthly Song Talk meetup, whether you're in Toronto for our in-person meetups or anywhere in the world for our online meetups. It's free to join on meetup.com and free to attend. Bring a song and a lyric sheet and get constructive feedback from other songwriters. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link. You can follow me at neilmodi.com. You can follow Phil.
PhilEmery.ca.
And Maddy, what's your favorite social media channel? Where do you
You can follow me on Instagram, Maddy Little Music.
Maddy Little Music on Instagram, perfectly. All right, and be sure to stop by the website, songtalk.ca, to browse past shows, find out how you can be a guest. Thanks for tuning in, and keep on writing. So long.
Good night, everyone. We're out.
Cool, that's great.
Great
Wonderful.
show. Great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, he's really great.
I wasn't sure if I should like leave too, and I was like, wait, maybe we should.
That's cool. You can hang out for a little bit.
Okay, wonderful.
Cool.
Mhm.
You should definitely come to our meetup, Maddy.
Yeah. What? Sorry, where is it? When
It is this month. It's online. Are you hosting it this month, Phil? I think you're hosting it, right?
Oh, what day is that? Do you know?
I don't know. It's on the page.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, we alternate. 1 month we do it online. 1 month we do it at the Transac. Which
Where's
is
that Transact?
Stein and Bloor station.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to come to the in-person one. Yeah.
Yeah, the in-person ones are fun because we get to
Yeah.
hang out in the room afterwards, and we get more live. We get more people with guitar or piano
Mm-hmm.
singing their song, as opposed to the online version. We tend to get more recordings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is fine too. But
Mhm.
but when pandemic time, obviously we went on Zoom and we connected with songwriter groups in Seattle and in Minnesota and in Boston and everywhere else and everything. And we started getting people coming in for the meetup from all over the place.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Australia and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Australia
Yeah, it's
and
really
England and-
That's cool. That is really cool.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's just a bunch of songwriters hanging out and giving each other feedback. That's all it is.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very kind of ground up, and nobody judges
Yeah.
you or anything like that. Like it's all good.
Yeah. That's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah, it's where this podcast was born
Yes.
That's true.
Mhm.
So long ago.
so long ago.
Very long ago.
Um,
Like Great.
Well, it was wonderful to meet you guys. Yeah, like let me know if you need anything else from me or whatever. And
For sure, we'll do. Yeah, we'll give you
send,
we'll give you heads up when
it's
live. Yeah, when it goes live. Should be in a couple of days, hopefully a few days rather.
Yeah. And if you could share that with your network, that would be great.
Wonderful. Love it. Okay.
Fantastic.
All right.
Alrighty.
It was good to see you guys. Okay.
Yeah,
I will see you guys later. Bye.
Okay, take care.